Ooh, this is Royce Marie Patton, aka General NewSense, and I did make one small little video. I can't really call it yesterday because it was like 3 in the morning with I call it my protester girl uniform. So, General Nuisance, just getting started here, playing with the city of Pittsfield, fighting back in a creative, fun way because I have already been tormented, tortured, terrorized by these people before in an incident in North Adams. And that's in a different rant, my video rant venting session there. I'm not going to get into that. I am going to do my first reaction video. I like this guy. There's a couple more people that I've been seeing that I like. And it's good when you're all alone fighting an entire city of corruption to feel like you have a couple of allies, even if they're just virtual and don't even know that you're there. So I'm going to get into it because he he says it perfectly. And I'm just taking a little snippet, but I do recommend you watch the whole video because 100%, 100%. So here we go. See, I'm still learning how to push the buttons. I actually paused the screencast-o-matic instead of starting because it kind of overlaps down here in the corner just a tiny little bit.
My channel like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Let's get into this. This anti-police, anti-white rhetoric needs to come to an end. I have had enough. I've had enough. I made a video earlier about my son getting a notification on his EA Sports Madden game talking about Black Lives Matter and oppression of black people, which is an opinion by some. It's not verifiable, unequivocal facts, but yet they push it on young people. And then one of my good friends who happened to be white, and the funny thing is we have the same last name, we go on rides together, and he showed me on the app, the Strava app, that you just upload your rides to. Everybody have a good time. You like people's stuff. If you see their rides, they're impressive. Pro riders are on there. Everybody's having a good time. Why on God's green earth do they feel they need to give an advisory about how they've been a racist organization all this time? And that black people need special treatment, and you need to give us handouts, and worried about black athletes. Listen, man, as a black man in America, and I've been black for 33 years, I am sick of the pandering. I'm sick of the false equivalence. I'm sick of people painting the picture like I am less than in my own country. This country belongs to me just like anybody else. I have never experienced racism in America. I haven't.
I have.
That doesn't mean that other people haven't. But I don't have to walk around with my head down, walking around acting like a victim when I haven't had nothing to do with that. And none of the people that I know are racist. I don't know a racist. I've never been around racists. Why do I have to be subject to an idea that people are forcing on me just because of the color of my skin? It makes no sense to me. And then I have a lot of friends who are white. It's not fair that I can have a say and I can talk about my opinions about the American flag. I can give my statements about Black Lives Matter and how ridiculous I believe their organization is. This is America. You have the freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want to say. Why is it that my white friends don't have that same right? If you say all lives matter, which is true, that includes black lives, ladies and gentlemen, you get fired. They fired a guy who's a commentator, fired him because he said all lives matter in a text message. You are not going to accomplish the goal that you want if you are doing it with hatred and vitriol. If you are doing it with the idea that you're going to force people to kneel and bow down to you for sins of their ancestors. I don't understand how we've gotten to this point in the United States of America. How are we letting people do our country like this? They claim that they're protesting the death of one black man who happened to be an extreme criminal. Does that mean he deserved to die? No, it doesn't. The police officer need to be taken to task as well. But he wasn't a Martin Luther King. He wasn't Jesus Christ. He wasn't many black people that have lost their lives that didn't get arrested and sent to jail 9 times. that didn't do a home invasion where they pulled a gun on a pregnant woman and pistol whipped her, that wasn't high on methamphetamine and fentanyl and resisting arrest at the time of his death. There was plenty black people who live, who are unjustifiably killed, and they don't even get a t-shirt. They don't get coverage. They don't get a t-shirt. Y'all giving this dude 3 funerals, live broadcasting on television. What for what? And to defend his life in his honor, quote unquote, y'all done killed 9 black people in these riots and protests. You have destroyed millions of dollars worth of property that black people own in this protest. A black retired captain on the police department, 38 years of service, serving his community, serving the black community, serving the police community, has a tremendous reputation. He dies. Y'all don't even talk about him on the news, except Fox News. And then who killed him? It wasn't a police officer. It wasn't the white man. It was another brother who ain't even 30 yet. Done murdered the man. And that brother should have been in prison for a long time because he did an armed robbery. Instead of him doing 7 years in prison, they let him out on probation, which he violated twice. A career criminal killed a good black man, and y'all MIA. Chicago, Illinois, the war zone of the United States of America. Last weekend, 80 plus shootings. 25 black people died. 2 of those black people that I know of, because they ain't gonna never say their names, they don't get no recognition. Just so happened they mentioned 2 of them, 2 18-year-old girls who were aspiring college students, could have probably made a difference in the community. Oh, they dead now. Because people don't know how to handle their anger. They out here shooting people and acting a fool, and nobody's holding them accountable. And I don't know if will they catch the people who did this? Are they going to get justice? Probably not. 83% of the homicides are unsolved in Chicago, Illinois. That's one part of one city and one state in the United States of America. And y'all talking about police brutality. Let me give you more stats. In 2019, there was only 9 unarmed black people who were shot by police in 2019. Guess how many were shot in Minneapolis or Minnesota as a state? 1. And just because you're unarmed don't mean you're not a deadly threat. So just for the sake of argument, just say all of them were wrongfully shot. There's 44 million black people in this country. In 2019, 9 of them were shot by police. 7,000 or so of them were killed by other black people. And in the tunes of hundreds of thousands have died from heart disease and other ailments that y'all won't even bring up, and you claim you care about black lives. Let's give you more stats. Chicago, Illinois. Last year, in 2019, 192 black people were murdered. How many black people were murdered by police in Chicago in 2019? And I'm counting the people who are unarmed. Because if you got a gun, I don't know what to tell you. Nobody was killed by the police in 2019 in Chicago who were unarmed. Not one black person. 2020, there is already 191 people, black people, that have been murdered this year in Chicago. And they're on pace to double the murder rate from last year. How many police officers have killed a black man in Chicago, Illinois this year, unarmed? 0. How your outrage is not justified.
And I paused the screencast-o-matic instead of the YouTube again. Like I said, the buttons are very, very close together. I love that he brought the stats. He did his research. It's true, but it's also true if a white person was to say that, they would be so fired, so persecuted, so called a bad guy. I know, because I am that bad guy at this moment in time. So I do thank you. I wanted to get my little thing. Yeah, hang on. Kiss him right there on the cheek. Right. Mwah. Thank you for sharing this. I do appreciate the truth. It's hard to do all. I'm going to stop right there. Thank you for sharing the truth. I'm about to have a moment, and that ain't going to happen while I'm talking to y'all. But like I said, I've had my share of shit with the cops, and corruption, citywide corruption, and I know that it still continues to this day, and nobody is listening to me. Not the police. Well, they're the culprits, of course they're not, but I mean, I have the Attorney General. Sorry, we're not interested in that. I'm going to be calling. I've told the FBI. They said we're not interested in investigating that corruption, and it is horrid. So I'm not going to get into all that right now, but I just thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. I do appreciate it. General Nuisance, over and out.